So, hello everyone. Very good evening to all of you. This is Shraddha, your host of this challenge, and today is our day 49. And today we are going to learn 70 plus spoken English rules. Okay, this is not just rules. I mean, these are the rules for common spoken English sentences. Okay, there are only sentences uh, where I have mentioned the structures, the rules of those sentences in the PDF. Okay, so I have shared the PDF in the chat session. You guys can open it and let's explore those sentences one by one. Okay, so there is a first rule of the sentence, the for commands. Okay, for commands means when we order someone. Okay, for example, the rule is we work from first plus object. Okay, if you see the sentence, go to the market. Okay, this is the command or we can say order. Okay, when we order directly to someone. Okay, at that time, go to the market, open the door. Okay, close the door, open the window. Okay, we are just ordering to someone or commanding to them. Okay, at that time the structure will be V1 plus object. Okay, and if you want to make a negative sentence, the negative command at that time we can frame the structure will be do not plus verb form 1. Okay, in sentence, don't touch that wire or don't waste your time. Okay, so okay, now let's see another rule for requests. Okay, for polite request, the structure will be please or kindly plus verb form first. Okay, in sentence, please help me with this box. Okay, kindly submit the form by tomorrow. Okay, here we can use please or kindly for polite request. Okay, there is nothing much in there. There is only two things where you have to add please or kindly plus verb form first. Okay, for third thing, for making suggestions. Okay, the third rule um, is let's plus verbs form verb first. Okay, let's plus V1. In sentence, we can see let's go for a walk. Okay, let's watch a movie tonight. Okay, this is for suggestions, for making suggestions. And second, another sentence is let plus OC plus V1. Okay, in sentence, sorry, in example, let him finish his homework. Okay. Now for absolute instructions. For that we can say never or always. Okay, if you are instructing someone at that time we can use these words for expressing perpetual prohibition or instruction or creating strong imperatives. Okay, for example, never tell a lie. Another example is always speak the truth. Okay, when we instruct someone at that time, we can frame this sentence like this by adding at first, never, or always. Okay, another another rule for causing actions is get plus OC plus object. Okay, this pattern arranges for someone else to perform an action. Okay, for example, get the mechanic to repair the car. Okay, another example is get your brother to clean his room. Now, for expressing gratitude, at that time we can frame sentence like this in this structure. Thank you for plus gerund form. Okay, for show appreciation with this polite structure. Okay, for example, thank you for inviting me to the party. Thank you for your valuable help. Okay, here in the first example, you can see after thank you there is a gerund form of invite. Okay, ing form is there. Okay, so whenever you're using any verb there, then you must add ing form there. Okay, gerund form. Now for expressing intent and existence. Okay, present intent for the rule is subject plus instead to plus verb first. Okay, for example, she intends to join the gym next month. Okay. Um, Okay, another is for past intent, subject plus intended to. Okay, here is the we are using tense. Okay, for for intent. Okay, for the intent past verb will be intended to. Okay, ed will be there. Subject plus intended to V1. Okay, for example, he intended to call you, but he forgot. Okay, for existence across time, So that there is or are structure states existence across different tenses and aspects. Okay. Understanding these patterns helps you to describe what exists in various time frames with precision and clarity. Okay, for example, the first one for present, there is or are. So there is a book on the table. There are three birds in the tree. So these were the examples, and we already learned in the tenses part how to frame tenses in present, past, future, perfect, past perfect, future perfect, and there were, I think, total 12 tenses were there, which we have learned already. Okay, so I have mentioned here too, as it's very commonly used in spoken English, so that's why I have added here. So the first one was for present, there is an are, and for past there was or were. Okay. For example, there was a loud noise a moment ago. Another example is there were many people at the meeting. Okay. For future, there will be. For example, there will be a new cafe near her soon. Another example is there will be a storm later. Okay. For present perfect, we frame by using there has or have been. Okay, for example, there has been a sudden change. Another example is there have been several complaints recently. For past perfect, there had been. Okay, for example, there had been an accident before we arrived. There had been a market here years ago. For future perfect, we can structure the sentence by using there will have been. Okay, for example, by next year there will have been 20 years since the last update. Okay, for talking about past habits, at that time we can um we can oh so sorry. um all right, where I was. And yeah, one thing, if you have any kind of doubt, if you want to raise any issue at that time, you can unmute yourself and you can speak directly on the VC. What happens whenever I open the PDF? So I'll have to go because I'm not focusing on the chat section at that time. Okay, if you are having any question or anything, just unmute yourself and speak out. Okay, guys. Okay. So where I was, okay, we were talking about the past habits. So there used to be. So indicate something that existed habitually in the past but no longer does. Okay, when we talk about our past habits, okay, at that time, and this is not habit right now. Okay, at that time we can say there used to be a big tree in this garden. It was in the past, but recently or in present time, it is not there. Okay, we are just talking about the past thing which used to be there. Okay, जो हुआ करती थी. Okay, अभी present में वो नहीं है. It's not in existence. Okay, at that time we can say such a things by saying there used to be. Okay, there used to be a big tree, a big house, uh, whatever things there. Okay, just need to add there used to be. Okay, another example is there used to be a theater on this corner. Okay, for strong deduction, there must be. Okay, if we want to talk about strong deduction, at that time we can use there must be. Okay, it expresses certainty about present existence and based on logical reasoning. Okay, for example, there must be a reason for his strange behavior. There must be a mistake in the calculation. Okay, when we say in Hindi, um, okay, the there must be a reason for his strange behavior. इसके पीछे पक्का कोई रीजन होगा. इसके बदले हुए बदलाव के पीछे पक्का कोई रीजन होगा. In Hindi, we can say like this. Okay. Now let's see the another rule for necessity, willingness, and desire. Okay, we will see one by one. For lack of necessity in present, we can frame there is no need, comma, Okay, for necessity, lack of necessity in present, we can frame like there is no need to plus verb P1. Okay, there is no need to shout. I can hear you. Okay, there is no need to hurry. We have plenty of time. Okay. Second thing, a second rule for lack of necessity in past we can frame by saying there was no need. Earlier we used is for present. Now here we are talking about the past. So it will be was. Okay. There was no need to plus verb form first. Okay. There was no need to there was no need to buy such an expensive gift. There was no need to apologize. It wasn't your fault. Okay. तुम्हें माफी मांगने की जरूरत नहीं है ये आपकी गलती नहीं थी ओके इन हिंदी वी कैन से ओके thirdly pointless actions the rule will be it is or was no use to plus verb form first okay it is no use to complain now the decision is final. Another example, it was no use to run after the bus. It had already left. Okay. Pointless actions. For pointless action, we can frame sentence like this by using this rule. Okay, in your sentence. Now expressing willingness. Okay, willingness patterns show readiness. Okay, to perform actions across different time frames. Okay, so these structures are essential for expressing cooperation, agreement, and voluntary participation in activities. First, present. The rule of sentence is subject plus is am are willing to. For example, I'm willing to help with the project. Second, she is willing to try a new dish. Okay. For past, we can frame sentence by the rule subject plus was were willing to. Okay, there is nothing change. You just have to change the uh, verbs form. Okay, as earlier in the present we said is am are. Here you have to change it into past. So it will be was or were. Okay, subject plus was or were willing to. For example, they were willing to sign the contract. Another example is he was willing to drive us to the station. Okay, for future structure will be the rule will be subject plus will be willing to. Okay, will be willing to. You must uh, I must say you haven't ever framed this sentence ever or haven't listened that much about this. Okay, but still I have added because somewhere it is used. Okay, in spoken English. Okay, so let's see the rule first. Subject plus will be willing to. Okay, in sentence we can see the example. They will be willing to move to a new city for the job, or I'll be willing to discuss the issue next week. Okay, for general desire, you can say want or wants plus object. Okay, it's very easy one. Still, I have added there as it's very commonly said sentence. Okay, I want a cup of tea, cup of coffee, or she wants a new phone. Okay. Now for action desire, want to plus V1. For example, we want to travel the world. I want to read that novel. Okay, another example of past form. Okay, wanted to plus verb 1. He wanted to become a doctor when he was young. Okay, for polite desires, you can frame sentence like this would like to plus V1. Okay, for example, I would like to order the chicken pasta. She would like to ask you a question. Okay, for polite desire, we can use this rule in your sentence. Okay, now let's see the rules for ability, capacity, and continuation. Okay, for expressing ability, the rule will be to be plus able or unable to plus V1. Okay, let's see the structure in example. They were able to rescue the trapped hikers. Another example is I'm unable to understand this complex topic. At there, you do not understand anything. You are not कि आप जो चीज कर नहीं पाते हो कर नहीं पाते हो या फिर for that you can say I am unable to. Okay, simply you can say I am unable to. I cannot do this thing because you don't know how to do this or you are not habitual of that thing. At that time you can simply say I'm not uh, unable to do this. I'm not unable to understand this complex topic. Okay. Now let's see the temporary ability. The structure, the rule will be is and are being able or unable to. Okay. Um, for example, he's being able to walk again after the surgery. Second, she's being unable to concentrate due to the noise. Okay. For past, for past one, you can see the rule was were being able or unable to. I was being unable to access my account earlier. Okay, now for starting actions, for that there is a simple rule of the sentence start or stop plus VING. Okay, for example, it suddenly started raining. Okay, it suddenly started raining. Whenever you use start or stop, after that V plus ing will be there. Okay. The verb form will be in gerund form. You should stop talking during the lecture. You can see here after stop, the verb form is talking. Ing. Ing is added there. Um, okay, for past we can say started plus VING or begin to plus V1. Okay, he started learning Spanish. Second example is she began to sing a beautiful song. Okay, there is a two different structure. Okay, you can see the first one started plus V plus ing. Another one is began to plus V1. Okay, so you can see the difference here. Okay, now let's move towards another rule for continuing actions. The rule is keep or keep on plus VING. Okay, for example, keep trying until you succeed. Okay, another example is they keep on arguing about the same thing. Okay, for another rule is for continuing action is continue to plus V1. Okay, he continued to work late into the night. Okay, now making suggestions about activities. The rule is what about plus VING. Okay, what about going to the beach this weekend? Okay, when we want to make a suggestion at that time, we can simply ask such a question by framing by using this rule in your sentence. What about plus VING? Okay, for example, as I said, what about going to the beach this weekend? Or what about ordering pizza for dinner? Okay, now another rule is how about. Okay, earlier we use what about. Here now we are using how about plus VING. Okay. For example, how about painting the wall blue? How about waiting a few more minutes? Okay. Now let's move towards another rule for making suggestions about activities. The rule is it is time to plus V1. Okay, for example, it is time to go to bed. It is time to start the meeting. Okay, another rule is feel like plus VING. Okay, I feel like eating something sweet. She doesn't feel like working today. Okay, for past, felt like plus VNG. For example, we felt like celebrating after the victory. Okay, now let's see uh, conditionals, real and hypothetical situations, understanding conditional structures. Okay, the first conditional one, likely future. Okay, here is the rule: if plus present plus future. Okay, if it rains, comma, we will stay inside. Okay, if you study hard, you will pass the exam. And I must say that everyone has hear about these sentences. Okay, so many people use these conditional uh, sentences in their communication, whether it's writing one or a spoken one. Okay, it's mostly used sentence. Okay, so here you can see the rule for it, if plus present plus future. Okay, here we have used present tense as well as future one. Okay, if it rains, comma, we will stay inside. Okay, another example is if you study hard, comma, you will pass the exam. Okay, now let's see second conditional for hypothetical present and future. Okay, if plus past plus would plus V1. Okay, see the rule. If plus past plus would plus V1. Okay, let's see in a sentence. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. If he came home, we would have dinner. In Hindi, we can frame this sentence like this. अगर मेरे पास millions dollars होते तो मैं पूरी दुनिया की सैर करता. Okay. Okay. If he came home, we would have dinner. अगर वो घर आता है तो हम dinner करेंगे. Okay. This is a hypothetical situation. Okay. At that time, we can use this rule in your sentence. Okay. For past one, you can say if plus were plus would plus V1. Okay. There is nothing changed. Just you need to, uh, yes.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
yeah.
who was that?
Okay, yeah, D and D. Ma'am, just
Your
repeat the
wife.
last one. Am I
Last one.
audible?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
the hypothetical one, the
yep.
first conditional.
Second one, yeah.
Okay, okay. For
Mm-hmm.
second conditional, for hypothetical, present or future. Okay, the rule of sentence will be if plus past plus would plus V1. Okay, for example, if I had $1 million, okay, I would travel the world. Another example is if he came home, we would have dinner. Okay, here you see the past tense. After if there is a had, it's a past one. Okay, and in the second sentence, it's came. It is also a past form of come. Okay, and the another rule is for yeah, if plus were plus would plus V1. Okay, if I were you, I would take the job. Another sentence, if he were taller, he would be a great baseball player. Here it is a hypothetical situation. It is not in reality. We are just thinking in our mind. Okay, we are just dreaming. We are just assuming things. At that time, we use were for I. Okay, you have all here we use were only for we, for you. Okay, but here when we talk about hypothetical situations, at that time we can use were with I. Okay, if I were. Okay, अगर मैं uh, अगर मैं तुम्हारी जगह होता. Okay, hota is a hypothetical situation. It's not in reality. We are just thinking, we are just talking about it. In reality, it's nothing like that. Okay, for that we can say I were. Okay, now let's see the third condition, uh, for impossible past. If plus had plus verb form 3 plus would have plus V3. See the rule again. If plus had plus V3 plus would have plus V3. Okay, let's understand by taking an example. If I had known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. Okay, second example is if they had seen the danger, they would have warned us. Totally, we are totally talking about the past thing, which was impossible one. Okay, the impossible past. Okay, now for let's see the negative condition. The word is unless. Okay, it means except if or if not. Okay, you cannot enter unless you have a ticket. Okay, unless has a not in itself. Okay, unless means not. It's a negative condition. Okay, here we haven't mentioned it not there. Okay, unless itself means negative condition. Okay, the example you cannot enter unless you have a ticket. Okay, another example is I will not forgive you unless you apologize. Okay, जब तक तुम माफी नहीं मांगते. Okay, in Hindi there is a nahi, but in English we cannot add not because unless itself means the negative one. Okay, so there is no need to add not there. Okay, no, not any negative word over there. Okay, you just simply say unless you apologize, unless you come here, unless you have dinner, unless you complete this homework. Okay, now let's see for duration or point in time. Okay, until. Until is used for duration and point in time. Okay. See, wait here until the bus arrives. Wait here until the bus arrives. जब तक bus नहीं आ जाती. Okay. Another sentence is I will be working until 5 p.m. Okay. First one is used for duration and another sentence is used based on point in time. Okay. Now let's see the third one for provided that uh, the word is as long as. Okay, there is no rules. This it's only a word, phrase we can say we can use in our sentence as long as we will be fine as long as we stick together. Okay. Another sentence, you can borrow my car as long as you drive carefully. Okay, fourth one, immediate sequence. The rule is as soon as. Okay, there is no any other forms for it. Only as soon as. For example, I'll call you as soon as I finish the meeting. Okay, जैसे ही मैं मीटिंग फिनिश करता हूँ. Okay, जैसे ही in Hindi we say as soon as in English. Okay. Another example is as soon as he saw the police car, he sped up. Okay, जैसे ही उसने पुलिस की कार देखी वो भाग गए. For obligation and advice. Okay. Okay, today we will see the obligation and advice and complex conditions. Then after tomorrow we will be learning time sequences and contracts. Okay. There were 100 rules over there, but in PDF I could have only fit 74, I think. Okay. Then after tomorrow I will add more. I'll have to find which has left. Then I will provide those 24 or something remain remaining sentence with this one. Okay, for with the time sequence and contrast and whatever is remain, I will add that too. Okay, let's see the last four rules for today's class. Okay, obligation and advice. The rule is if plus has or have plus should plus V1. Okay, let's see an example. If you have time, comma, you should help your sister. Okay, it is used for obligation and advice. Another example is should have, sorry, not example, another rule is should have plus V3. Okay. Let's see an example. You should have called me earlier. Okay. तुमने मुझे पहले कॉल करना चाहिए था. We should have saved more money. Okay. हम पैसे बचा चुके होते. Now for complex conditions, there is a rule if plus could have plus V3 plus should have plus V3. Okay. For example, if she could have attended the event, she should have informed us. Okay. Another rule is would have to plus V1 for complex conditions. Okay. Let's see an example. He would have to resign if he took that new job. Okay. He would have to resign if he took that new job. Okay. Okay, so tomorrow we will discuss other spoken rules, okay, such as time sequence, contracts, okay, expressing contracts, concessions, emphasize, preference, and advanced patterns too. Okay. Uh, it was only for today, and I have shared PDF. If you want to see once again, then you guys can go through the PDF once again. Okay, if you want to see the same same PDF. Okay. It was only there is things which I add today. When there is no need to practice more because it's so many sentences over there. I just share it for have an idea about it. Okay, so you guys can look at the PDF once again. Okay, so that's all for today. So thank you so much everyone for joining this session and listening to me carefully. So thank you so much each and everyone, and have a good night. If you haven't have your dinner, so you guys can have. And good night, sweet dreams. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.